Welcome back, folks, to part 3 of this Unreal Basics tutorial, and following on from the last video where we explored emissive lighting. In this video we're going to be at least concluding this part with looking at some of the particle physics and how to apply them, and also how to change some of the dynamics within them. So without further ado, let's get going. So first of all, it's going to do a little recce. So this is where it's going to be taking place. We're going to have flames there, we're going to have smoke there, and some sparks. And we're going to have a look at adjusting these items once we've put them in place. So I'm just going to press Escape, press F11, and let's have a look. Just going to hit F. Right, so first of all, let's go to the starter content. Actually, I was on it already, wasn't I? Particles, and let's start off by putting some fire in there. So I'm going to literally click and hold and drag it in place, and then just kind of put it roughly somewhere in the center, like so. I'm going to put some smoke in there now, so click and hold and drag that in place. And again, put that roughly in the sort of same spot. Just let me. If you ever have difficulties clicking onto any of the items, folks, you can always go and select your items there. If you go into the world outliner. Sometimes it can get a little bit confused in terms of when you're trying to select those items. So anyway, there we go. So that looks okay. And then some sparks. And we're going to lay that in there as well. Okay. So we've got the basics of it. Let's just go and have a look. We're going to go and hit play. F11. Let's just go and have a look and see what that looks like. So it looks pretty good. Now you could sort of stay with that, and you could think, okay, well that's good enough for me. However, you might want to be doing something with that. Certainly, perhaps changing the colour of the flames, changing perhaps the speed of the sparks as well. Perhaps a little bit too quick. So decreasing the rate of those. So that's what we're going to be exploring in this video. So I'm just going to hit Escape. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to perhaps start changing the colour of the flames. And to do this, we need to go down to the starter content and find out where the fire element is, which is there. And we double click, it'll bring up its own editor. Now we're not going to worry too much about the flames, worry too much about the smoke and the embers and sparks. It's the flames that we need to be concentrating on. In particular, colour over life. So we've got sort of two different flames going on. So this is what we're going to be changing the colour of. Yeah. So first one, you need to select colour over life, and if you're not seeing this already, you need to click on the button there, so it says colour over life, and where it says distribution, you need to click on to where it says distribution vector constant if it's not there already. Okay, and then on the colour here, you need to click, and if I just move this over to the side, you should be able to see it. And I'm just going to zoom in a little bit there. Right. And as I start to make the changes, you should by right start to see the changes of the colour of the flame. So I'm going to click and drag that to the edge there. I'm not seeing any difference at the moment, but if I just zoom out a little bit there, and then I start to bring this up, black, you can see there now the blue flame is coming through. Okay, which is cool. And the only thing that we need to do next is click OK, and then we'll go to the next flame, and do the same thing again. Click on distribution vector constant, and then click on the black strip there, and then the same thing again. Drag that over to where the blue is, and of course, you know, it doesn't have to be blue, it could be any colour you want, but in this instance we're going to choose a blue flame. And then I'm just going to drag that up to the top, and there we have it. We have blue flames. Now, that's good to go. If you did want to be a bit more particular and you wanted to have a look at the embers, then of course you do the same thing with those. So you can see the embers are still kind of like a kind of orangey yellow. And again, you don't necessarily have to do this. So if you've got that already, fine, go with it, and we'll save that. But if you wanted to affect the embers, then of course you'd follow the same principle. Yeah. Click on that, and you can make it whatever colour you want. So if you want to make them blue, the same as the other one, then do that. There. Like so. And you can see that there's still a bit of the orangey yellow in there, but yeah. And of course, with all this as well, I've not really gone into this much, but of course, with these you can play around with these as well. In terms of, you know, if you want to increase some of the, you know, the reds, the greens, the blues, of course you can do that, or reduce the blues, or whatever it is that you're wanting to achieve. So anyway, so that's just a by the by. But if you don't want to go that far, that's fine. Just click on that. Anyway, once we've done that, we're ready to come out. Now, if we revisit it, go to play, F11. Hey presto, we've now got our strange blue flames, as you can see there. Gives it a bit more of a kind of ethereal look. Right. The smoke we're going to leave. I'm just looking at the smoke. It might be perhaps a little bit, it might be interfering a little bit with the, I'm just going to press F11. It might be interfering a little bit with the flame, so I might be inclined to just move that back perhaps a little bit. See what that looks like. In fact, it might be a little bit too much smoke because the flames are already giving us some smoke. So you know what? I think I'm going to delete that. Yeah, I think we've got plenty to kind of go from with that. And then let's have a look at the sparks. So again, this is a bit of a sort of tricky one. I'm going to go into where it says sparks, double click on that. You can see there, now you can, again, if you wanted to, you could play around with the colour on that, but I'm not going to do that in this instance. Actually, the solution is a lot simpler, but I just wanted to kind of show you, again, just for the interface, so you know you do the same thing again. But what we're going to do is, in order to slow it down, what we're going to do is select sparks, and the bit that we need to be concentrating on are, if I just get a bit more space there, so it gives you bits about the element and things like that. The bit that we need to be concentrating on is where it says custom time dilation. So at the moment it's quite fast. If I would just take now the mouse, click and hold, and drag it, we should start to see. Drag it, sorry, the other way. See that? It's not as much as that, a bit too much. There we go. You can really start to kind of slow things down. Yeah, so it's a bit more gentle. And you can also delay it as well, so seconds before inactive. So if you chose to have it come on at a certain time, you can do that. But I wouldn't worry too much about that, because that could be something taken care of if we're using trigger boxes and things like that. So that's getting more into the kind of blueprints. But yeah, so something a bit more. Maybe a bit more. Let's have a look at that. Let's go back up. So yeah, so now it's like a lot more ethereal. Kind of got this blue flame and this very gentle shower of sparks kind of coming down there. But that's pretty much it really for now. We've covered playing around with emissive lighting, so just to recap, we played around with physics, and also we've played around with particle physics as well. So if you've managed to follow all this, well done. If this is your first foray into game engines, then give yourself a pat on the back. Hopefully, you found this informative. As I mentioned before in the first video, we are going to be exploring different elements within the Unreal Engine game engine over the coming days and weeks, and we're going to sort of approach this like a sort of laboratory. So we're going to have this space here just to explore certain things. So whether it's looking at things like I don't know, creating wind, we're going to have a look at water, so how to create a pool of water, and also look at some of the post-processing as well we can do with that. So have the character leaping into the water, floating, and then coming back up again. Things like that, but also just looking at how to import objects and how to use the materials editor to upload your textures and things like that. Just generally things to kind of get us kind of up and running. Beyond that, we're also going to be looking at creating trigger boxes, playing around with cinematics, so having things like platforms that kind of go up and down, and yeah, just generally having a bit of fun. But hopefully it's going to give you some ideas. Another thing as well that I mentioned was looking at Unreal Engine as a renderer. So looking to, if I just go into, just to kind of finish, you can do screen grabs as well. So let's say, for example, if you want to kind of get a shot of your model there, or whatever, or if we sort of had a look at, or maybe something like that. It has this option where if you click on the arrow there, you can do a high resolution screenshot, which is pretty cool. So that's something we'll play around with. Unreal's got some really nice lighting in there, and you can do some really kind of cool things with the lighting in there. So again, that's something to explore. So even if it's just like a static model that you wanted to kind of put in here and just do a shot of it, we'll also explore that in the coming weeks. But anyway, hopefully you found this useful, folks. If you've got any questions, of course, let me know. And until next time, stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks very much. Bye for now.